For centuries, Europe has been a hub of innovation, from groundbreaking technologies to iconic brands. Yet now, its streets tell a different story. Small businesses are closing their doors, startups are falling behind, and tech giants outside of Europe rule the market. But what's driving this decline and stopping a new generation of entrepreneurs from stepping in? Let's find out. The dominance of big tech companies is one of the most significant barriers for European entrepreneurs. Giants like Amazon, Apple, and Google have created ecosystems that are nearly impossible for small businesses to compete with. Their sheer scale, technological superiority, and global reach leave little room for startups to carve out their niche. These companies have reshaped industries, from retail to advertising, leaving smaller players to fight over scraps. For example, Amazon's European revenue exceeded €60 billion in 2023, a stark contrast to the struggling local retailers across the continent. Europe also faces a brain drain, as talented entrepreneurs often move to the United States or Asia, drawn by more supportive startup ecosystems, access to capital, and fewer regulatory burdens. Starting a business in Europe comes with unique challenges that discourage many would-be entrepreneurs. Europe is known for its strict regulations. While these rules are often aimed at protecting consumers and workers, they can be overwhelming for startups. From data protection laws like GDPR to stringent tax compliance, navigating the regulatory landscape requires significant resources. Also, venture capital in Europe pales in comparison to the US and Asia. In 2024, European startups raised just €120 billion in funding, while US startups raised over €350 billion. Without sufficient funding, many European entrepreneurs can't scale their ideas. There's also a fear of failure. Unlike the US, where failure is seen as a stepping stone, European cultures often stigmatize entrepreneurial failure, discouraging risk-taking. Beyond the challenges of starting a business, sustaining one in Europe has become increasingly difficult. In recent years, business failures have surged across the continent. In Germany, company insolvencies rose 64% in 2024, the highest since the 2009 financial crisis. Meanwhile, the UK saw nearly 200,000 business closures in the same year, a record high. High labour and energy costs combined with inflation have squeezed profit margins. Small businesses in particular are struggling to keep up, unable to pass on these costs to their customers. Also, post-pandemic, consumers have shifted to online shopping and subscription-based services, where big tech dominates. This leaves traditional businesses scrambling to adapt, often too late. Europe's business ecosystem isn't doomed, but it requires significant reforms to foster innovation and support struggling businesses. Simplifying bureaucracy and creating startup-friendly regulations could empower more entrepreneurs to take the leap. Expanding government-backed funding programs and incentivizing private investors would help startups compete on a global stage. Encouraging a culture that values risk-taking and embraces failure as part of the entrepreneurial journey could ignite Europe's entrepreneurial spirit. Additionally, small businesses need support to adapt to the digital age. Investments in technology, training, and infrastructure are critical to leveling the playing field against big tech. Europe's strength has always been its diversity of ideas and cultures, but today's environment is holding back innovation and ambition. The real question isn't whether Europe can overcome these challenges, it's whether it will act quickly enough to make a change before it's too late.